The King has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew. This statement coming into us in the last 10 or so seconds from Buckingham Palace.
King Charles just did something that has not happened to a British prince in over 100 years, and the person on the receiving end is his own brother. On October 30th, 2025, Buckingham Palace made an announcement that shocked everyone. King Charles stripped Prince Andrew of every single royal title he had. Andrew is no longer called a prince. He is no longer His Royal Highness. He is now just Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. That is it. No fancy titles, no special treatment, just a regular name. But it gets worse for Andrew.
This is full disgrace and pretty much unprecedented as far as we can see. We were told Prince Andrew couldn't stop being a prince because he was a son of the late Queen, but they've found a way to do it.
The king also kicked him out of his massive home at the Royal Lodge. This is a 30-room mansion near Windsor Castle where Andrew has lived for over 20 years. Now he has to pack up and leave.
Well, breaking news to bring you now. The pressure on Prince Andrew to vacate his royal digs, where he's lived nearly rent-free near Windsor Castle, is on. Britain's King Charles says he's now initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew.
So what led to this dramatic moment? Let me take you through the whole story. Prince Andrew is 65 years old. He is the younger brother of King Charles. When he was born in 1960, he became a prince automatically because his mother was Queen Elizabeth. For his entire life, Andrew enjoyed all the benefits that came with being a prince. He had titles, honors, money, and respect. But everything started falling apart because of one man, Jeffrey Epstein.
Of course, it comes in response to his relationship with sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Buckingham Palace saying that Andrew will now go by the name of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor.
Epstein was a wealthy American who was convicted as a sex offender. He died in jail in 2019 while waiting for his trial. But before he died, Epstein was friends with many rich and powerful people. One of those people was Prince Andrew. For 15 years, questions kept coming up about this friendship. How close were they? What did Andrew know about Epstein's crimes? Did Andrew do anything wrong himself? The person who brought everything into the spotlight was Virginia Giuffre. She was one of Epstein's victims. Giuffre said that when she was just 17 years old, she was forced to have sex with Prince Andrew 3 times. She said this happened at different places. Once at a home in London, once in New York, and once on Epstein's private island. Andrew always said this never happened. He said he never even met Giuffre. He even said a photograph showing them together was not real. But in 2022, Giuffre took Andrew to court in New York. She filed a civil case against him. Before the trial could happen, Andrew settled the case. He paid her millions of pounds. He did not admit he did anything wrong. But he did say he was sorry for what Giuffre went through as a victim. Most people thought that was the end of it, but they were wrong. In April 2025, Virginia Giuffre died by suicide. She was only 41 years old. But before she died, she wrote a book. The book is called Nobody's Girl. It came out in October 2025 after her death. In the book, Giuffre repeated all her claims about Andrew. She wrote details about what allegedly happened. She said Andrew acted like having sex with her was his birthright. The book made people very angry all over again. Then more bad news came out for Andrew. Emails from 2011 appeared in the news. These emails showed that Andrew stayed in contact with Epstein much longer than he said he did. He had claimed their friendship ended earlier, but the emails proved he was lying. People also found out something shocking about where Andrew lived. Remember that huge mansion I mentioned, the Royal Lodge? Well, Andrew had a very special deal for that place. The property is owned by the Crown Estate. That means it belongs to the country, not to Andrew. In 2003, Andrew signed a lease to live there for 75 years. He paid £1 million up front. He also paid £7.5 million to fix up the house. But here is the crazy part. His rent after that, 1 peppercorn per year, and only if someone asked for it. A peppercorn is a tiny seed. It is worth almost nothing. So basically, Andrew was living in a mansion for free, a mansion that normal people could never afford. And he was doing this even though he stopped being a working royal in 2019. When people found out about this deal, they were furious. How could he live like a king when he was not even doing royal duties? Where was he getting money to pay for his lifestyle? How did he afford that huge settlement to Giuffre? Parliament started asking questions, the media kept digging for more information, and the pressure on King Charles kept growing, and things got really bad on Monday, October 28th. King Charles went to visit a cathedral. While he was there, a man in the crowd started yelling at him. The man shouted questions like, "How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein, and have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew?" The king did not answer. Maybe he did not hear the man. But cameras caught everything. The video was all over the news that night. Headlines the next morning were terrible for the royal family. King Charles knew he had to do something big, and he did. On October 17th, Andrew had already given up some titles. He said he would stop using the title Duke of York. He said the accusations were distracting from the work of the king and the royal family. He said, "I vigorously deny the accusations against me." But giving up those titles was not enough. People wanted more action. Members of Parliament called for Andrew to be formally stripped of everything. Royal experts said the king needed to draw a clear line. So on October 30th, King Charles made his move. Buckingham Palace released a statement. It said, "His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew." The statement continued, "Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. His lease on Royal Lodge has, to date, provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation." Then came the most important part. The palace said, "These censures are deemed necessary notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him." Royal experts called the language very brutal. The palace was sending a clear message. It did not matter that Andrew kept saying he was innocent. The damage to the monarchy was too great. The statement ended with these words: "Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse." This was huge. The king was taking his brother's side of the family and standing with victims instead. So what exactly did Andrew lose? Everything. The title of prince that he had since birth, his Royal Highness designation, Duke of York, Earl of Inverness, Baron Killelea, the Order of the Garter, Knight Grand Cross of the Royal Victorian Order, all of it. Gone. Where will Andrew go now? He will move to a property on the Sandringham estate. This is a huge piece of land in Norfolk that the king owns privately. It is about 100 miles north of London. We do not know which exact house Andrew will live in, but it will be much smaller and much more private than the Royal Lodge. King Charles will pay for Andrew's new home privately. No public money will be used. What about Andrew's ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson? She has been living with Andrew at the Royal Lodge for 20 years, even though they divorced way back in 1996. Now she has to leave too. She will find her own place to live. She also lost her title of Duchess of York back in October, but Andrew's daughters get to keep their titles. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie will stay princesses. This is because of old rules from 1917. The daughters of a king's son get to keep their princess titles. Beatrice is 37 and Eugenie is 35. They are not working royals, but the scandal is not their fault. When the announcement came out, Giuffre's family released a statement. Her brother Sky Roberts said, "Today, an ordinary American girl from an ordinary American family brought down a British prince with her truth and extraordinary courage." He told CNN it was a joyous and happy and sad day. He wished his sister was still alive to see this moment. The family statement said, "Virginia Roberts Giuffre, our sister, a child when she was sexually assaulted by Andrew, never stopped fighting for accountability for what had happened to her and to countless other survivors like her. Today, she declares victory." Politicians also spoke out. Lisa Nandy, the culture secretary, said removing Andrew's titles was a really brave, important, and right step by the king. She said it sends a powerful message to victims of sexual abuse, but not everyone thinks this is enough. A group called Republic wants Andrew to face criminal charges. They say losing titles is not the same as facing justice. Their leader, Graham Smith, said, "Prince Andrew is not facing justice. He's not being held to account. Losing silly titles is not an answer to very serious accusations." The last time something like this happened was over 100 years ago. In 1917, during World War I, a prince named Ernest Augustus had his British titles taken away because he fought for Germany. Before that, you have to go back to 1936 when King Edward gave up the throne to marry an American woman, but Edward was not stripped of his titles, he chose to leave. This makes what happened to Andrew very rare and very serious.